everybody, my name is Shazetta. Most of you don't know me, but I hope that over the next days and weeks and months you'll get to know me better, and perhaps even my husband, as we both have gone through or are going through this journey together. I had my gastric sleeve surgery on June 24th, which means that tomorrow I'll be exactly 3 weeks post-op. You'll also learn over the next few weeks that I don't normally come on camera looking like this, but today it was important for me because this is my reality today, and I'll tell you why. Although tomorrow I will be 3 weeks post-op, and that in of itself is exciting. My last 3 weeks have been absolutely horrible. My husband had the surgery nearly 3 months ago, and his recovery was perfect. Like he's been a champ all the way through it. No complications, no issues, no nothing. Last Friday, I was admitted to the hospital though for severe dehydration. And so that's kind of what this video is about. Talking about that and that process, but also talking about the importance of knowing your body and about the importance of speaking up for yourself, which is something that I've learned over the last few weeks. So when I first came home, the first day, it was a same day release. There was no overnight. It was outpatient surgery, which was fine. Same with my husband. I had no reason to be worried. I was able to take my fluids down just fine while I was in the hospital. But by the evening time or day two, I just couldn't keep anything down. I couldn't. Everything made me nauseous. I had a lot of acid reflux feelings, a lot of gas, which they told me to expect. I was taking my protonics, taking everything I was supposed to take, but then things just, I couldn't tolerate anything on my stomach, not even water. And so I called my doctor, and he said, okay, I gave you enough fluids at the hospital this first day. Give your GI tract a rest. And I'm gonna give you some meds for nausea. Gave me a bunch of different stuff to take, and it helped with the nausea, but there were also 4 meds that kind of kept me asleep. So really for the first 5 days, I wasn't hardly able to consume anything. And so when I finally woke up, you know, kind of out of the med stupor, and the nausea and stuff was still really bad, but I was still trying to push through and drink, but I knew I wasn't getting enough in. And by week 1, I knew that I was starting to become dehydrated. I was getting a thick coating on my tongue that I understood to be a sign of dehydration, and all that stuff. So in conversation with the doctor, you know, they were saying, you have to push to drink. You have to push to drink. My husband was saying, babe, you got to push to drink the way you pushed me to drink. And I found myself getting frustrated and feeling like a failure because for me, it was not a matter of I won't drink, but I literally could not, and I didn't know how to explain that to anyone. I didn't know how to put it in words where they would understand. And so this went on for 2 weeks exactly, and on 2 days before my 2-week point, I ended up in the emergency room because something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. I knew that it had been far too long since I had been able to take anything. And when I say anything, like I couldn't keep meds down. I started vomiting. My protein wouldn't stay down. Water wouldn't stay down. Like, it was horrible. And so I went on to the ER. And so the ER says, well, you're kind of dehydrated, but your potassium is really low, but we think you're okay. The next day, I went in to my doctor, and she said, well, not really dehydrated. Your potassium looks a little low, but if we can get the fluids in, then we can push through this. By that evening, though, I was really weak, was throwing up and everything that morning. By that evening, I was having kind of this foam stuff that was coming out of my mouth. I was having to spit it out every few minutes. But that evening, I told my husband something's wrong. I know that something's wrong. I can't tell you all what it is, but I know that something is wrong. And I hear what the doctor's saying about I have to drink. It's a choice. I have to do mind over matter, but something is wrong. It's not that I won't, but I literally can't. And so I got through that night horribly, but by 9 p.m. the following night, I really was at a point where I felt like if I don't do something, I'm not going to make it through another night like this. And so I called my doctor, or had my husband call my doctor, send her a text and ask her, just tell her, look, I'm feeling this way. My head has started hurting. I was starting to have some sharp chest pains. And say, look, I know what you said. The blood work has come back and said, but will you just, for my own peace of mind, do a direct admit? just for the night. Let's figure out, let's get some other stuff done. And so she did the direct admit. She trusted me on it, did the direct admit. And as they did the testing at the hospital, it showed that I was severely dehydrated. The other thing that she learned when I went to the doctor is that the thick coating that was on my tongue that I assumed was from dehydration was actually thrush, a really bad case of thrush that had developed from the antibiotic that they gave me on the day of surgery. So I had thrush since like day 2 or 3, and so that was contributing to the acid and to everything. It wasn't making anything better. It was contributing to my nausea and all of that. So anyway, by the time I got to the hospital, they could barely find a vein for an IV. It was clear that I was severely dehydrated. And so they started pumping fluids immediately. And as a doctor came in the next day, you know, they did an upper GI. It showed that I had some GERD in my stomach that was causing the foam that was coming up out of my mouth. They scheduled an endoscopy for the day, and it ended up finding out that, well, they let me try some cream of wheat, right? Some thicker liquid, and that was, and it settled in my stomach, which was amazing because not even water would settle, but the food settled just fine. And no liquid would settle, but food, like a thicker cereal, settled just fine. And so they said, okay, I want to do an endoscopy. So when they did the endoscopy, it turns out that my sleeve is twisted, and that food settles just fine because it's heavy enough to push through the twist and get into my stomach. But water was just kind of sitting on top and just barely seeping in. And so they released me last night, telling me to go ahead and fully start my soft food diet a couple days early, but to go ahead and start it in hopes that the food will, consistent consumption of food will untwist my stomach. And if not, they'll have to go back in and untwist it surgically. But telling you the long story, so it's all been really scary, all been really frustrating, really painful over the last 3 weeks. Physically, very much so physically, but also emotionally and spiritually some. I'm grateful that I'm a woman of faith, and so my prayers, the prayers of others, spending time in worship has been helpful. But I've learned to listen to my body, regardless of what a doctor says or what a nurse practitioner may say, to know that something is wrong in my body and to advocate for that. If I had listened and just kept trying to push fluids, prospects weren't too good for me, because really with my stomach twisted, I really didn't stand a chance from the time that I left the hospital on the pushing liquids tip. And as dehydrated as I was and still am, like I'm not even fully hydrated yet, and they've been pushing fluids consistently for the last 5 or 6 days, which you can look and see my mouth is still really dry. I've still got a lot of the thrush. They're treating me with an antibiotic. My skin's dry. As I said, I look rough. There's no makeup. My hair bonnet's on, all of that. But I'm getting my strength back. This is the strongest I felt today in weeks now. And even then, I can't stand for too long. But by the time I got to the hospital on Friday, I could not walk on my own. I literally couldn't hold my head up. It was bad. It was bad. And so as we go through this process, I guess you all, and as I invite you all to join me on this journey, and I may talk about other things on this vlog, who knows, but as I invite you all to join me on this journey, I want to create a space where we're not only thinking about or have chosen to have a very drastic surgery in an effort to aid ourselves in living healthier lives, but I also want this to be about us learning what works for us in this process, not necessarily going with a textbook or only listening to what the doctors say, but how do we find a place where we're able to know and to hear our bodies, to respond to them, and to fully take care of our bodies. I, yes, am interested in and extremely excited about the weight loss, even already, the 30 pounds already, the 90 pounds already for my husband in the last 2 months. I'm really excited about that, but more than that, I'm excited about the spiritual and emotional freedom that I believe this step toward health is going to give to me. and to us. And so I hope you'll join me in the conversation. I hope that you'll join me in the dialogue. I promise I won't look like a monster always. I hope my husband will join us and kind of share some of his male perspectives as well. Really excited. Today is my first day with a fully soft food. They let me have cream of wheat in the hospital, and then yesterday I ate like a little half a piece of shaved turkey and a little piece of cheese. That was good. And this morning I had a piece of an over medium egg and a little piece of meat. And so I'm excited about being able to try new things. And I want this to be exciting. I don't want it to be restrictive. I don't want it to be miserable. I want to enjoy my life from this point forward and to do it in full health. And I certainly hope that you guys will join me for at least one more time so you can see me look decent. Okay, so anyway, by the end of the week I'll look decent. I may do a couple of more of these vlogs just to chat, or if you guys have things you want me to talk about, then certainly by all means say so. Hit the subscribe button down there and turn your notifications on so you'll know whenever I upload a new video. I'm excited about this journey. I hope you're excited about it, whether you've had the surgery or any sort of weight loss surgery, whether you are considering it, whether you know somebody that had it, just general stuff. You'll find I'm kind of a jack of all trades. And so yeah, welcome to this channel, and I hope that we can join together and build this community together as I learn how to cook different ways and be sharing all of that stuff with you. Look, just join me on the journey. That's all I ask. And if ever you get tired of it, you can unsubscribe. No hard feelings, no foul, nothing like that. So anyway, look, I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope that you are making greater strides and greater steps towards your better health every single day. And I just really pray, peace, love, health, and happiness for you, all right? Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.